So we're going to bind up our receiver here to our radio now. And the nice thing about Crossfire, one of the nice things, apart from its awesome performance, is that it is really easy to bind to a radio, because older FreeSky receivers needed to have exactly the same firmware as the Crossfire firmware on the radio. So everything is actually done from this module on the back here, and this module will actually update the receiver when we plug it in. So first things first, we've got our radio on. We can see that we've got our model set up as external RF Crossfire and internal RF off. And we can just actually come out of that, doesn't need to be in there. You'll see when you power it on, you'll see a flashing yellow on the module. And if we power it up, okay, I'm just going to turn my fan on here a little bit so to keep our VTX nice and cool. Hope that's not too noisy. Okay, so we've got a flashing green on the receiver there. Don't know if you can see that. And I'll turn this radio over. That's ready to bind. So we'll just click that, and you'll get a flashing blue. Okay, and you'll see that the receiver blinks red, and then that means that it's ready to do an update. So we'll just click again, and that will turn solid blue, and the receiver turns solid green, which means that it's now updating the receiver and is going to bind to the receiver. So we just let that do its thing. Usually takes 30 seconds to a minute. And after a while, you'll see the receiver will flash green very fast, and the module slow pulses green and then goes solid green on both, which means that you are pretty much good to go, hopefully. So then we'll just power off both. Power off a cord. Power off our radio. Okay, okay, so it's actually we're still saying that it's bound as it's unbinding. It takes a little while for it to register that. And then we should now be able to power on our receiver, our radio rather. So we should be able to power on our radio. Put that down there. And let's power up. And there you can see we have signal. Okay. So nothing's working at the moment because we've not configured anything in Betaflight yet. So we need to configure all these switches, need to configure our arm switch, our beeper switch, our mode switch to go from angle mode to acro mode, and all that good stuff, and turtle mode and so on. So yep, we're good to go. That's solid green on the receiver there, as you can see. And we've got our bars on the radio. So we are now bound to our radio. So let's go and set this all up in Betaflight now. So there you'll see I've unplugged that, and you'll see that those bars will go in a minute.
Telemetry lost.
And it'll say telemetry lost. So we know we're bound. Just one other thing to note is that this is a brand new receiver. So I don't know whether I mentioned, but there is a button on here. I think it's right at the back there. You'll see it. It's a little pressable button. If this is not the first time you're binding your radio, or say you've updated your module again to a different version or whatever, you'll actually need to power your radio up in the normal fashion, but you'll need to actually press that little button on the receiver before it's ready to bind. That's just something to note. But because this is a brand new Crossfire receiver straight out of the factory, we didn't need to do that first time.